Well, you guys, I made it to Tennessee. I know I look tired, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna do my hair today. It's super humid, it's been raining. I don't care. I thought I'd come out here. Everybody else is still sleeping. I thought I'd come and take a walk because, you know, I'm used to getting up early and feeding farm animals. But anyway, very uneventful flights. I didn't end up getting any footage in the airports. I just didn't. I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get going. Looks like this is a fast highway. I'll have to be careful. Not wander too far. But anyway, I'll keep you updated. I don't know what we're really gonna do today. Something fun. It's an adventure for sure. Do you guys hear the sounds? It sounds so pretty here. It's like a jungle. And you know what I'm doing? Looking at the plants. There's an elderberry over there. You see it? It's kind of white in the background. I've noticed lots of plantain and lots of berries, bramble type things. It's pretty nice here. I really like it. Of course, it's just different. Queen Anne's lace. Tons of maple, tons of oak. Of course, all of those things. Super fun. But I had to let you guys hear the sounds. Hey guys, so I'm here at the Homestead Festival and I'm excited. I have a interview I'm going to do with Sean Pissera, and he does Broadforks. So I'm going to let him give you guys a demo and kind of tell you a little bit about what he's doing rather than me do it. We'll do that here in just a sec.
All right, so I'm Sean Pissera, the Mindful Farmer. My background is in organic farming, and I'm looking forward to bringing tools to homesteaders, gardeners, and small farmers. A lot more appropriate tools, better design, better ergonomics. This is the first launch of the Finesse. So this is a Broadfork. It's all steel, all American steel.
For the Broadfork, a lot of reviews talk about the handles breaking off, like for fiberglass and for the wood handles. Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about that, and also the joint where the handles connect with the actual Broadfork?
Well, let me grab one. So I found the same thing too. So like I've used Broadforks for almost 10 years. If I had a fiberglass handle Broadfork, I actually have not even used those because I've used fiberglass shovels and they break over time. Especially because most people are going to have the intention of putting everything away, but they're just going to leave them out.
Right.
You leave it out. So the wood too, I've always had wooden Broadforks break, and you have to replace handles. Also, I found that even if they don't break, those joints, because they're not welded, get loose. And so then you're still working the tool with like a loose handle for a while before it does finally break. So I knew I wanted to use steel, but still be able to keep it lightweight, because I feel like that was a really important feature, especially if like young farmers are going to be using these. So I had to go to the lighter steel, but then I was able to compensate with that with the two rods and just move them a little bit further in. That kind of helps you, one, have a wider handle, and so you have more leverage this way and this way versus like a garden fork. You're building, you're bringing your shoulders in, and then a typical broad fork, your shoulders are up, and you have to use a lot more upper body strength. So this, you can use your basically just your lower center of mass to get the leverage you need. And because I went with the two handles, I wanted to make sure that was a really firm connection. So what I actually did is I designed it where the tooth goes up through here. So it's not just welded at this joint, it's welded at the actual shaft itself in 3 different places. So that would never, ever break.
Awesome.
At the worst, you could probably, maybe one of these side tooths, if you hit a rock and went sideways, and you could just always bend it back if you had to. You know, the powder coating is going to protect it for a number of years. It will probably still eventually start to kind of come off where your hands are touching a lot of it always wears off right here where your boot's on it. But usually it's like if it's coming off because that's where you're touching it a lot, then if you do get some surface rust, you're wiping the surface rust off. I've never seen a Broadfork rust out before.
Okay. So what about the weight of it? So that was one of the biggest review things was they could carry it around just fine, the all steel one, but then to use it was so heavy. And so is yours lighter than the normal one? Like what's the weight on it?
One. It's less than 10 pounds, so I can hold it with one finger. So it's really light, but I think too, like it just being comfortable to where you never have to move your hands. So if I get in a little, like a workflow here, I'm not having to move my hands. It's just really easy. And so I'm also not having to, I see a lot of people, they step up on their broad fork, and when you're doing that, you're doing a stairmaster exercise.
Definitely.
So and I see people jump on it, which is just going to blow out their knees eventually.
Sure.
And then I see like this kind of thing, and that's like just an unnecessary
You just don't need to do it.
So I wouldn't ever lift it higher than it needs to.
Yeah, let me stand back a little bit and show us like the best technique.
Yeah. So to get it down in there, instead of stepping on it and jumping on it, you just use the leverage of the fork to go deeper into the ground. Allow it, and like your body weight to naturally just kind of send it deeper in there, and then you can use your body weight to pull it back. But the not repositioning the hands was really important to me. And then once you're into some loosened soil or like an existing garden, then it just gets really easy to get a flow going down.
I like how you're switching feet too. That's smart.
Yeah,
you don't get tired.
Like ergonomics.
Yeah.
You're not wearing out the same muscles.
Right. So my last question is, what about, so most of them are 5-tine or 4-tine. So what's your opinion on that, and would there be a different use?
So this one is 5-tine. I feel like the 6-inch spacing was basically good enough to where you're getting enough soil move. So like in a typical like clay loam soil, I'm seeing like this soil in between the forks is being lifted and breaking apart. If the teeth are too close together, then just this whole region comes up in one big piece.
Okay.
If the teeth are too far apart, you're not actually, then you're just like only lifting here and here, and this soil isn't really moving. So the distance is important. And I found like generally 6 inches is good for that purpose, but it's also a multi-function in that once you have like the soil nice and the way you want it, you can level it with the fork.
Like a garden rake.
Yeah, almost like a garden rake.
Yeah.
And the teeth are on 6-inch centers, so then you're also marking your bed at 6-inch centers. So if you're using a 30-inch wide bed, you just put this outside tooth on the edge of it, and then you get 4 evenly spaced rows right down the middle.
Right, gotcha.
And because the handle's longer too, you can do it from the outside of the bed and do that sort of thing and be able to mark your bed.
Great, yep, that's great.
So then that means transplanting's easier, cultivating's easier, all those different things.
So where do they get one of these if my viewers want to get one?
Yeah, so Mindful Farmer Arkansas, mindfulfarmerarkansas.com is our website. We're also on YouTube and Instagram with the same handle, Mindful Farmer Arkansas, and you can even buy it from Instagram too if you see it there.
Great.
So it's these are $3.25 shipped anywhere, free shipping anywhere in the lower 48.
Hey guys, so Homestead Festival, I am here with William from LemonGRAFT, and he's going to tell you all about why we want it where we are, and if basically wherever you guys are. I'm just going to give him the floor and let him tell you all about what they do here. It's really cool.
Yeah, so first, thank you. I really appreciate the chance to connect with you and your community. Like Esther said, my name is William. I'm part of the team at LemonGRAFT. I'm one of the co-founders and actually currently serve as the CMO and Director of Community Engagement and Outreach. So my job is probably my favorite thing to do, which is just come out here, connect with people, and share with them who we are and what we do. So LemonGRAFT is an online platform for local homegrown produce. We kind of refer to ourselves as like an Airbnb or Uber, but for local gardens and food. So what we do is we allow you to connect and see what people in your community are growing. They can list that, and then once they list that, you can see that, and you can buy it directly from them. And the same goes for if you're gardening or growing, if you have extra, you can list what you have, people in your community see that, and they can buy directly from you. So Our goal is really to build community, and we believe that food is a really great way to do that. So not only are we able to provide better access to better, higher quality, healthy food, but we're also able to connect people within their own community again. Let the farmers, let the growers get to know people that are buying. And ultimately what we see as our dream one day is seeing the kind of the consumer and the farmer become more of one and the same, instead of continue to be pushed apart the way that the traditional system and development and the way that we kind of move forward kind of causes that disconnect. And we see this as very much a way to try to combat that and then try to reintroduce a much better way for people to really start building up their own communities, both with food and local food systems, but also economically. And just trying to help people get back on their feet, especially after the past couple of years. You know, we're all pretty familiar with the new challenges that have now presented themselves with just life. So yeah, that's who we are.
Yeah, I love that. And what I really like is that you don't have to be a homesteader yourself to participate in homesteading. This gives you an opportunity to join the community of homesteaders and not have to feel obligated to do all of the work. And I think that's like an amazing outreach.
Yeah, and we believe that like our goal at LemonGRAFT is not just to provide access to food; it's to grow new farmers. And so what we do is we make a platform that takes out all of the barriers to entry, takes out all of that guesswork and risk, because we really want anyone and everyone to engage and to know that they can. Up until now, it's been challenging. You have to kind of be a certain size in order to get involved in your local food system. We don't see that as being sustainable long term, and we've already kind of seen how that fails just over the past couple of years. So anyone and everyone, there's no limit, like no one thing is too small. I can have one tomato plant and I can engage in LemonGRAFT and serve my community and engage my local food system. We have people so this is Zach. He is the CEO and founder of LemonGRAFT. So if you see him running through,
just grabbing
that's
water.
it. Now you know his face.
I'm the one yelling at everyone out in the street.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have people even in urban areas that are literally just on their balconies at their apartments growing herbs and spices and then selling that to their neighbor. Like there's literally no size too small, and that's what we really love.
Right, that's so great. So if people want to engage in this, where can they engage in it right now?
So LemonGRAFT, the platform is accessible anywhere in the United States. We formally launched a couple months ago, so we're still pretty new. So the main communities where we're already kind of established is like Tampa Bay area down in Florida, so Central Florida. But you can access us anywhere in the U.S. The only thing that you need in your community to start with LemonGRAFT is someone who grows and would like to sell, someone who would like to be a host, and a host for us is someone in the community that says, I want to be a place where people gather. I want to be where growers drop off their food that they've sold, and a place where buyers come and pick up what they've bought. And then I want to be that connecting piece. We call them community anchors because they're really the ones that are going to start building and establishing their community. And then in addition to the grower and the host, as long as there's a buyer, someone who wants to buy, your platform is completely live. Your community can become and start LemonGRAFT, and it can start building your local food system right then and there.
I love that, and I really love that because not everybody can get to a farmer's market.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the time to do farmer's market as a grower and a seller. So it takes out all that blockage, and you can get farm fresh produce that's totally different. Like, hey, I want it today. This is right.
Yeah, and it's at such a smaller scale that you can go into communities that normally wouldn't have access to that kind of food.
Right.
So even from a buyer perspective, you know, if I live in an area where, you know, let's say I'm in a food desert, like those are really common in Tampa where we're from, we don't have any overhead because we're just data. So we can say, hey, you know what? If you're interested and you're growing, your community needs you. We're going to give you all the tools you need to engage with them and serve them. We don't have any expense to that. We are just here to activate the potential that the community already has. And so we can really reach anyone, anywhere. And that's one of the things that we've been very intentional about and how we designed this. It's just access and just being able to actually get to good food options.
That's great. So, what is the cost to someone who signs up as a grower?
Sure. So, in order to be a grower and actually to use the platform in any way, there's no cost. It's completely free to use. There's no subscription fees. There's no memberships. There's nothing like that. What we believe at LemonGRAFT is that we shouldn't make any money until the grower makes money first. So what we do is after the grower makes a sale, then LemonGRAFT as the platform takes a percentage of that, and that in part goes back to your community. So the host actually gets paid for the transactions. They actually get 10% of every transaction that happens through their location. So that's like an economic incentive for them to engage. It also helps growers who want to be a grower and a host, because then they pay themselves the 10% and then they save even more money. They can engage in that way. For the buyers, there's no hidden fees. The growers set their own price, and the price that you see on LemonGRAFT, and in addition to wherever you're located, there may be like sales tax or standard stuff for purchasing online. But yeah, it's what you see is what you get.
So what is your commission on that end for LemonGRAFT?
Sure. So LemonGRAFT takes total. So what we did is when we were young, we launched recently. So what we decided to do is we never wanted to make it more expensive. So we started with the highest possible number, and now as we grow, we're knocking that down rapidly. So total LemonGRAFT will never take more than 33%. Which in reference, and I'll give a breakdown of where that goes if you're interested. But in the U.S., on average, a farmer makes 10 cents off of every dollar that you spend in the store. And that's not even profit. That's just all that they get back from what they've sold. So on LemonGRAFT, they sell us, they're making 2 to 10 times more money than what they would selling traditionally, because they're keeping a minimum of 70% of every dollar they spend. So the fee that LemonGRAFT takes, 10% goes to the host, which we already mentioned, to help kind of incentivize people taking on that role and engaging their community in that way. About 5 to 6% goes to cover transaction and online fees. So anytime you swipe a card and you have payment providers, they're the ones that move your money around. So 6% goes to cover that. The other 15 to 17% is what LemonGRAFT takes to cover overhead and just cost of the platform. What we're doing for growers that sign up now is we're actually giving a 10% discount forever off of that fee too. So LemonGRAFT, if you sign up as a grower now, we'll help you get set up and do all that.
That's really cool. So if you guys are interested in signing up, I'm going to leave a link in the description box for you. And if you're interested in bringing this to our community, leave a comment down below. And I want to connect with you guys, because I think this is a really cool community opportunity for our area.
We always try to, in Wisconsin, you tone it down with strawberry.
Oh yeah, I just use a little brown sugar.
Rhubarb is the best.
This trip is brought to you in part by Cedar Mountain Farm Bed and Breakfast and RV Sites. This is one of my favorite places to visit, located in North Idaho near Silverwood Theme Park, making it a great place to stay while you vacation in the area. They offer day passes, overnight stays, hiking, family fun on the farm, and so much more. There's a link in the description. Be sure to check out their website to book your next Idaho stay. Hey guys, I thought that we would sit along this really beautiful hedge line. If you have been following me for any time whatsoever, you know how much I love a good hedgerow, and this one has a cute little fence behind it. So I wasn't really able to film a lot during the Homestead Festival, which was partly kind of a bummer and partly not, because honestly, it's been such a crazy, busy, amazing trip that I just wanted to make sure I was soaking up as much and making as many connections there as possible. And I was blown away, completely blown away by how many connections I made and how many amazing things God did on this trip. So you're not allowed to film the speakers, obviously, while they're talking. And between that and listening to them, it was a pretty fast-paced schedule for speakers. But also they were doing a lot of sound checks and had music in the background, and you can't film that either. So that's okay, because that helped me focus. And I kind of wanted to share with you, though, a lot of like my main takeaways, because I think that not only will they help me, but they will help you guys on your own homesteads. So I listened to quite a lot of people. I just realized I'm laying on the ground in a foreign land. I'm seeing red ants that I'm wondering if they're fire ants, so maybe I'm not going to sit on the ground. Okay, I'll just stand here instead. I don't really want to get bit by anything else. I've already been bitten. My legs are totally eaten up. I did so good, you guys, and my white skin. I did really good until the very end of the festival, where I got totally fried right here, and my legs are really bad. But anyway, I wanted to share with you, I have my notebook here, some of the stuff. It was really, really good. I noticed that Idaho, at least that area, we're not very good at sharing. We're not very good at being community minded. We are more like, this is mine, I don't want to share. If the world collapses, you better not show up, kind of thing. And I don't know if it's because of the homesteader mindset down here, if it's a southern thing or what, but it was so community based. And you guys, if your communities are not strong, if you are standing alone, I want you to hear this message. It is so important that we stand together, that all our boats will either sink or float, and we get to decide what's that going to be. Do we want our community that is experiencing so much growth, do we want it to sink, or do we want it to float? And I definitely want it to float. So a lot of the things that I'm going to be doing in the near future are going to be for community building. And I honestly am so excited about it. I don't know what form it's going to take yet, but I've got a lot of ideas floating around in my head. I did get to listen to, I'm going to butcher his name. I feel bad. I'm not good at that. I think his name is Daryl Patton or Peyton, or neither of those. If you feel free to correct me, it's okay. Anyway, he's an amazing herbalist from Alabama, and he was so fun to listen to. He was so fun to listen to speak, because he did a lot of same things that I do, and tested herbs and gave stories about how he tried them out on himself. And he also said, don't tell his wife. So if you're watching this video, don't tell his wife either. But he was talking about just different herbs and showing herbs. And a lot of the herbs down here in Missouri, and as well as in the South, they're all very similar to what we have. Of course, there are some differences. And I think that it's just fun to see that there are so many things growing. I don't know what this tree behind me is, but it kind of looks like a fig tree. I could be very wrong. There's just so many different things that are medicinal, and they treat the same thing. So they were different herbs than what I'm used to treating with, but all treating all the same things, and how well received that was in the community. I thought it was so cool. And then really the common theme through all of the people, I listened to people like Joel Salatin and Justin Rhodes and Melissa K. Norris. Those are just a handful of the people that I caught their talks, and the common thing, no matter what they're great at on their homestead, was building community. The reason why homesteading is amazing, and some of the things that they touched on were there's a car coming, hang on. Some of the things that they were talking on, bugs. There's a lot of bugs in Missouri. Our bugs are not awake yet in North Idaho, or at least they weren't when I left, not so much. So a lot of the things that they were touching on were things like, it gets kids out of screen mode. Homesteading helps people be connected with their food, and it brings community together. And honestly, that was the biggest message of the entire thing, of every speaker that I listened to. It was just an encouraging thing of, do this. So no matter if you are a backyard gardener, or you have a balcony in an apartment building, or if you have tons of land, whatever it is, even if you can't homestead, invite somebody to homestead on your place. I mean, that's how I started gardening, was I would ride my bike around across town, and I gardened at a friend's place, and I did that for about 2 or 3 years. And it was wonderful. It worked for them. They got fresh produce out of the deal, and I got to stretch my wings and practice, and I learned a lot of things in that little garden. Well, little garden, it was like 3,000 square feet, but still, you know me, I can't do anything small. So I just want to encourage you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you feel the pull for homesteading, and you don't have to call it homesteading. Homesteading is really just farming somewhere. Sorry, I am like so itchy. I'm getting eaten alive. They like my Idaho blood. You don't have to work hard to be a homesteader. You don't have to do it all by yourself, and you don't have to know everything about all of the homesteading type things to be a homesteader. You can do it no matter where you are, no matter what your physical limitations are. You can do something. You can cook from scratch, or learn how to just make yogurt, or grow a tomato plant on a backyard. Homesteading is in your heart. It's a mindset, and it's a mindset of positivity. Joel Salatin said, stop calling them stoplights. Call them go lights. When you come back from town, don't say, I hit 8 stoplights. Say, I got 5 go lights instead. And all you're doing is you are flipping life on its head and turning the negative into a positive, because your words are powerful. What you speak life into, what you speak love into, it will grow. And what you speak death into, it's not going to flourish. I can tell you that much. So think about that. Think about those things. Think about how you're talking on a daily basis. Think about, what is your mindset? Think about, what is your heart set? Is it positive? Is it in the homesteading mindset? And really, I think we can all benefit from that. I know I sure can. So I really love for you guys to leave me something positive down in the comments. Give me something that you normally would say is a negative thing. Flip it around and leave it in the comments for me. And I just want to bless you guys with positivity. I am so excited for how this trip has been. This entire trip has been sponsored, and I have been able to come here through God's will. I mean, he made this trip happen, and I have no problem saying that. And all of the connections that I'm making, I cannot wait, because you guys, it's going to benefit you guys big time. The things that are going to come from this, I seriously, like, I can't even wait. I'm having so much fun, and I don't want to leave all of my friends that I've made along the way, but at the same time, I can't wait to get home to go get started on all of this stuff. So today I'm in Missouri. I've told you guys that. I am meeting with some really fun people, Tom and Sarah of Heirlooms Evermore seed company. They sponsored me to come out here and just share their vision and their dream with you guys. And I absolutely can't wait to do that. We're going to do that here in a little bit. And I just, before I share with you their story, and it may not even be in this video, this may be a two-part thing because there's so many things, I had to share with you just those major takeaways from this trip and from the Homestead Festival, that it's not like I went there and got a whole bunch of training on homesteading. While yes, that teaching was there and it was available, that's not the message I took away from. I took away from it, just build that community. And community is simple. It can be with someone who is 50 miles away. I now have community in Tennessee, in Alabama, and in Missouri. And on an airplane, I don't even know where those people live. I think they live somewhere. If I met you on the airplane, I think you said you live in Minnesota. I believe that's where I was at. I've been in too many states in too many days, but if you did and you're watching, hi, it was great to meet you. I hope you had a wonderful vacation. But it doesn't have to be in your backyard, although that's very helpful. It can be something bigger than that. And to me, the more we can be for each other and not against each other, even our enemies, the stronger we will be as a nation. Look at that pretty butterfly. It's so beautiful. There's just life everywhere. Life grows. It's amazing. The more we work on building community, the stronger we're going to be together, and the stronger we will be to fight against whatever comes in our way. And I think that's going to be incredibly powerful, especially for our children growing up and seeing, you know, all of the things that have taken place in the last several years. It's time to get strong. It's time to be for each other. It's time to change our reality into something positive rather than so much negative. So I challenge you guys to do that. Start wherever you are. Start in your own neighborhood, start in your own backyard, start in your churches, start in your groups, start in your schools. It doesn't matter. Just start. And even, it's okay, even if you don't believe in the same God that I believe in, you can still be positive and you can still make a change for positivity wherever you are. And I challenge you to do that. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed day. In the words of Roots and Refuge, Jess, who I did not get the chance to see, she was teaching and it was way too sunny for me. I couldn't see her. So, but in her words, I bless you guys until next time.